Hello, here's a new video from LNT. LNT is a website dedicated to English literature. LNT offers a variety of pedagogic tools for non-native English speakers, such as introductions to various literary movements, genre definitions, biography charts, guides to literary masterpieces, text analysis, and more. LNT has a YouTube channel as well. You'll find the link to reach LNT in the description box below. I'm Anna, and I'm here today to give you an overview of modern literature. We'll look at what the term modernism signifies and what characteristics it shares. We're going to look into the reasons behind the reaction to the Victorian era. We'll also discuss what had an impact on this literary movement, not just in terms of science. We'll look at philosophy and technology, and we'll also see how Freud has a huge influence on the writers of the time. Of course, we'll also take a look at the impact of art in general. And finally, we'll look at the first and second generations of modernists. To help illustrate the topic, I'll use several maps. Let's get started. As I already indicated before, today's topic is the modern age. The modern age, also known as modernism, refers to the time between the late 19th and mid-20th century. Let's take a look at how British literature progressed after the Victorian era. Between the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century, artists in general reacted to the new ideas that emerged at the beginning of the century by rejecting the previous century's concepts and conventions. The writers instead participated in this reaction by experimenting with new forms. We may identify a number of traits of this era that are shared by numerous writers of the time. The first is the deconstruction of established literary forms and genres. We can also see the disintegration of the traditional conceptions of time and place in literary works. Another common aspect is the end of the traditional plot, as seen in previous literary periods. In the modern era, we cannot treat the plot as a story with a beginning and an end. Not only that, also the characters and events are used in different ways. In terms of language usage, we see an uncommon use of syntax and grammar, as well as a lack of punctuation. In poetry, the most common type of verse is free verse. Many works incorporate myths into their stories. What is crucial to remember about the modern era is the role of literature. The goal of literature now is to reflect the psychological truths hidden behind literary works. The Victorian lifestyle and cultural environment persisted long after Queen Victoria's death in 1901. But around the turn of the 20th century, many individuals, including many artists, struggled to believe in anything. They no longer believed in science, religions, philosophy, art, or progress. Many ideas emerged at the beginning of the 20th century, and they all contributed to changing men's perception of themselves and the universe. People in the 19th century believed that science was founded on a concept of stability and that science could foresee natural phenomena. Now, they understand that the universe is ruled by change, thanks to scientists like Albert Einstein and his theory of relativity. In terms of philosophy, Friedrich Wilhelm Nietzsche made a significant contribution. His understanding of abstract qualities such as the good, the true, and the beautiful altered the way people thought at the time. According to him, these categories are decadent and only exist in democracy as means of leveling differences. Many writers were questioned and shocked by the introduction of new technologies such as the nuclear bomb or the technologies that resulted from the two world wars. They believed that the authority of science had been won at the expense of religious and humanistic perspectives on truth and life. The new theories about the mind had a tremendous impact on modernists in general. The founder of psychoanalysis, Sigmund Freud, performed investigations into the workings of the human mind. Artists were particularly fascinated by the concept of the unconscious. Freud saw the unconscious as a dynamic force consisting of instincts and repressed desires. He also demonstrated how the human mind is made up of multiple layers, some of which are hidden. He developed theories that demonstrated how human behavior, whether conscious or unconscious, follows universal models and patterns. This concept was crucial for writers because it provided them with something to hold on to during an otherwise chaotic and irrational period. Great artistic movements such as Cubism, Futurism, Dadaism, and Surrealism also had a significant impact on writers at the turn of the 20th century, particularly in their complete lack of respect for the past. Writers didn't fully reject the past, but they did try to discover something valuable that might be reclaimed from it. As a result, they developed their own method of viewing reality. They accomplished this by including myths into their works. The existence of myth within a novel or a poem served the purpose of emphasizing how vacuous and meaningless modern daily life was in the absence of any cultural, philosophical, theological, or scientific reference. Modernist writers are typically classified into two generations: first generation modernists and second generation modernists. We can consider that the first generation of modernists was productive between 1922 and 1925, with Thomas Stearns Eliot, who composed The Wasteland, a long poem. We also have James Joyce, who experimented with the novel Ulysses, and Virginia Woolf, who published the novel Mrs. Dalloway. Their works all deal with the unconscious in everyday life, and they all use the stream of consciousness technique to try to replicate the continuous flow of the human mind on the page. The second generation modernists were primarily Winston U. Auden, who wrote Poems and the Age of Anxiety, as well as George Orwell, who wrote 1984, a novel, and Animal Farm, a novel. They are artists who worked and produced from 1925 onwards. Their distinguishing feature is that they participated in political life. For example, many intellectuals fought in the Spanish Civil War against the fascist General Franco. All of these authors express their political views in their writings. Of course, we can't overlook the works of other great modernists, such as Joseph Conrad and David Herbert Lawrence. Their novels were quite traditional in structure and form, yet they were brilliant innovators. Joseph Conrad was a modernist pioneer. In 1902, he wrote Heart of Darkness. The novella challenges our understanding of civilization and criticizes European colonialism. David Herbert Lawrence was influenced by psychoanalysis and psychology, particularly in his 1913 novel Sons and Lovers. The book is about the difficult relationships between members of a miner's family. It is about the psychological portrayal of an Oedipal situation, but it's also a realistic representation of life in provincial northern England. Well, that's my take on modernism. I hope you'll find the video useful and you'll join me for another video sometime. You can also check out L&T website and L&T YouTube channel.